I stopped chasing money and my life got better. And there were two big things that made me stop chasing money. One was a bad experience I had that I'll share in this video, and the other was a verse in the Bible from the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 24, which says, "No one can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." And I found that when I live by this teaching from Christ, when I stop chasing money and making wealth the number one goal in my life, and instead spend my time and energy on serving God and loving others, my life has become a lot better. But the thing is, I didn't always live like this. There was actually a time in my life where all I did was chase money, and it led me to make some choices that I'm now very ashamed of. About 4 to 5 years ago, before I believed in God, I went through this time in my life where my number one goal was to get as rich as I could, as fast as I could. At that time, I thought money would be the answer to all of my problems. I thought it'd bring me power, status, control, and some meaning to my life. And it didn't matter how I got it either, as long as it didn't put me in jail, make me embarrass myself, or cause harm to anybody. And so, after doing some research online, I learned about this thing called drop shipping, and I began making some money that way. In case you don't know, drop shipping basically is a business model where you sell something on a website, and when an order is made, you don't actually ship the item to the customer yourself. Instead, you have some separate store that has the item ship it for you. For example, if I sell a shirt online and someone buys the shirt, I don't have the shirt at my house to ship to them. Instead, I have some store in China who has the shirt ship it for me. Now, drop shipping itself is not a bad thing. It's a real business strategy. The problem is that it can be used to scam people, and that's how I used it. What I did was I would find some cheaply made health product from China, and I would falsely advertise it as some miracle cure to a health problem that people suffer from, even though I knew that it couldn't do that. For example, I remember one item I did this with was with these compression socks for people with neuropathy. Neuropathy, for those who don't know, is an illness that causes pain, numbness, and weakness to your hands and feet usually. Long story short, I was selling these online and advertising them as a real cure to neuropathy, which they really weren't. Surprise, surprise. I was lying in the advertisement and telling people that these cheap-ass compression socks were going to cure their chronic illness. I remember a pair of socks cost me $2 to ship to the customer, but I was charging $20 for them. And when I began selling them, I started making some real sales. And the more sales I made, the more I advertised them, which led to making more sales. And so this went on for a couple of weeks until one moment I'll never, ever forget. What happened was one day while I was looking at the list of orders, right, I started looking at the shipping information for each customer, which showed me their names. And I just remember, for whatever reason, I started reading the names of these customers. Names like Anne, William, Donna, Grace, Mark, normal names. And at that exact moment, after reading those names, these orders stopped being just a number on a website to me. Reading these names made me remember that these are all real people with real lives, real pain, real stories, real families, real struggles, and that they were spending their hard-earned money on this fake product I was selling, hoping to ease their pain so that they could live a better life. and that I was taking advantage of that. I was lying to them and profiting off their illness just so I can make a quick buck. And I remember thinking to myself, what if these people couldn't afford health care? Or maybe they're older and they don't know much about online scams, right? Or maybe their health is really failing and they're scared and are just trying like anything they can to ease their pain. I thought to myself, what if this was my mom or my grandmother that I was scamming like this? It made me sick to my stomach to think about what I was doing. And I remember feeling very vividly, I remember feeling this twisting feeling in my heart, and like a hole was being burned into my soul. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't know how else to describe it. And what I came to realize at that moment was that my desire for money and material gain, my worship of wealth, led me to sell out on my own morals. And that this was leading me down a bad path that I didn't even know I was going down. And the really scary part was when I looked at it logically and got rid of all my emotion, I could technically argue that I wasn't actually doing anything wrong. That it's not my responsibility that the customer doesn't know that socks can't actually cure their illness, or that if the customer complains that the socks aren't working, I could just tell them that they weren't using them right and blame them instead. Or I could just put some like stupid warning in the product description or whatever that basically covers my ass so that I could tell the customer that they should have read the fine print before buying them. And even worse than all of that, I realized that if all that I really think matters in this world is power, status, and wealth, then I wasn't actually doing anything wrong. I was doing what I needed to do to get what I wanted. If wealth is Lord over my life, then doing whatever it takes to get it is the right thing to do. Which led me to think to myself, if I really believe this, and I truly want to be rich more than anything, then why does this feel so wrong? Why is it tearing me up inside? Anyway, from that day forward, I completely shut down the online store and stopped selling the socks. I couldn't do it. It was killing me inside. And so what all of this led me to realize was that for me, I wasn't willing to do whatever it takes to make money. I wasn't willing to sacrifice my morals to gain wealth, which led me to wonder if chasing money and making it Lord over my life isn't what fulfills me and gives me what I'm looking for, then what will? And not only that, what is it that I'm really looking for in life? Which led me down this whole journey of searching for the meaning of life, which eventually led me to finding God, thankfully, which brings us back to the Bible verse, right? You can't serve both God and money. Ever since I've made serving God and loving others my number one goal in life, my life has gotten better in ways that I don't think any amount of money could ever give me. And while living this way probably means I'll never be as rich as I possibly could be, that doesn't bother me at all. I'd rather live a humble life with God, love, and meaning than be wealthy and basically sell my soul in the process. Now, I want to be clear, I'm not saying that I believe money is evil, or that working for money is bad, or that wanting more money to better provide for yourself or those you love is bad. I'm saying that I believe the love of money is evil, and that if I make it Lord over my life, it will lead me to destruction, and that Christ appears to confirm the lesson I learned in the Bible. You cannot serve both God and money. Anyway, the point of making this video is just to share a big lesson I learned in life that you can maybe learn from too. And that if you find that you're chasing money or that you feel empty inside and you think that wealth will fix it, or you're just trying to find your way in life and you don't know what to chase, my humble recommendation is that you don't chase money and you don't worship material wealth. Instead, chase God, chase meaning, and love others. And if you do that, I believe you'll find that everything else will take care of itself.